Hey, what's up everyone? Damien here again from Driving Safely with Janice Driving School. So today guys, basically what we're going to do is we're just going to cover up a few examples basically of what people will tend to do when learning to drive with assistance from their parents or their siblings or whatever the case may be. So a lot of the times, because old-time drivers, obviously when they drive they pick up bad habits, as we refer to them. So they do things that necessarily isn't good for the car, or is not exactly the best or ideal situation to be in or to use for the day of your test. So just a few things that old-time drivers tend to use that isn't good for your car, or that shouldn't be done for the day of your test. Firstly, basically, is the use of your clutch. So a lot of the times with old-time drivers, what they'll do when using or abusing the clutch is they'll tend to hold the clutch in around a corner. So now this is basically a very bad thing to do, one for your clutch and two just in general for your driving abilities. So when turning a corner, what you want to do, depending on the vehicle, most vehicles with the engine capacities and etc., you want to tend to bring the car down into second gear before taking the corner. And by the time you are ready to turn the corner, your foot should be completely off the clutch already. This helps reduce the speed of the car to slow it down to a point where you are in more control. If you hold your clutch in around a corner, the car will tend to just go and speed up. This can basically cause you to lose control of the vehicle, can cause you to have to react quicker where you shouldn't have to, and quick reactions can cause you to do things that are obviously can cause a damage or an accident or whatever the case may be. Other things that people do with the clutch, old-time drivers, you may pick this up from them as you're learning to drive, is they tend to ride the clutch. So now, when talking about riding the clutch on the test, basically, they use that term when you're approaching a stop street or a robot or whatever the case may be, and you put in the clutch too early. So what happens, say there's a stop street about 500 meters ahead of you or a kilometer ahead of you or something. Old-time drivers, what they'll tend to do is either put the clutch in, put the car into neutral and roll up until the stop. That is incorrect. You should not be doing that. And secondly, what they'll tend to do is they'll tend to hold their clutch in and leave it in the gear that it's in and stop then using the brake, but they'll hold their clutch in for a longer distance. What you want to do when approaching a stop street or a robot or whatever where you have to stop, you want to basically put your clutch in just before your vehicle stops. So literally a matter of seconds before your vehicle actually stops. A lot of people will presume that if they do this, the car will die. That is incorrect. Alright guys, so the car won't die. If you're traveling and you are slowing down to come to a stop, say at a robot or a stop street or some scenario like that, you want to use your brake first to start to slow the car down. Just before your vehicle stops, you then put your clutch in. Your vehicle will let you know when it is about to stall or when it's about to die or when you need to put your clutch in. Alright, so as you're slowing down, before your vehicle actually dies or whatever the case, it will start to jerk. At that point, you know then immediately to put your clutch in. Okay, you want to get to a point where you know and understand your vehicle and the workings of a vehicle, and you want to get to a point where you put your clutch in a few seconds before the car actually starts to jerk. Alright, so you don't want to put it in when the car starts jerking. You don't want to put it in too far back. You want to put it in just before your vehicle comes to a stop and just before it starts to jerk. Alright, so guys, basically that's just some hints and tips on how people tend to use the clutches incorrectly. You may pick up on some of these bad habits when driving with your parents or siblings or whenever the case may be. Another thing that old-time drivers will tend to tell student drivers or their kids or someone is when you're driving, they teach you to drive with your rev gauge. So we generally tend not to teach with the rev gauge. A lot of pupils, when they climb into our cars, have asked us, okay, at how many revs do we change the vehicle, or at how many revs do we change the gears? So looking at your rev gauge, guys, it's really not a good thing to do. You want to learn to feel and understand your car. You want to know, you want to be able to listen to your car and feel it, and you can hear your car and it will tell you when it wants to change gears. It will get to a certain point where the revs will stay at a certain tone or will stay at a certain pitch, and then you know, okay, if you need to change gears now, you need to also examine the road in front of you. You need to see, is it an uphill? Okay, I need to give a little more petrol. Is it a downhill? Okay, I can change quicker. Is it a straight? Okay, you want to give just about normal, you know, speed limit. But you never really want to refer to your rev gauge to inform you when to change gears. That is the last thing you want to do, because obviously vehicles with higher performance will change at lower revs. Vehicles with lower performance, you'll need to rev quite substantially higher in order to change gears. So don't use your rev gauge as a judgment as to when to change your gears. All right, so listen to your car, feel your car. It will tell you when it needs to change a gear. All right, so that's basically just another thing that people may pick up when driving with their parents, or when driving with a sibling or something. You may pick up these habits that your parents or your siblings do. You may think it's correct because they're doing it, but it's really not a good thing to do, neither for your clutch or whatever the case may be. Another thing that people will see their parents or their siblings do, just going to start my car here quickly. Another thing that parents do when they're driving is they use a technique called cross arm. So cross arm is basically when you sit at 10 and 2, and as your one hand turns, your other hand goes over to pull it back. So this is known as cross arm, right? So a lot of the times you guys will see your parents or your siblings driving like this. This is because they've already been driving. They understand how to turn the vehicle, they understand how much to turn, etc. As a learner driver, you don't want to use this technique because of the fact that you are still trying to get accustomed to the workings and the mechanics of a vehicle. So you want to use a method that we call push-pull. So that's basically simply that as the one hand lifts up, the other hand comes back and pulls down. So you want to basically just use this method. So let me just get the camera a bit closer here for you guys. So if you look carefully over here, this is what we want to refer to as your push-pull method, and this is your cross arm. All right, so those are basically the methods that you may see people using and the methods that you should be using. So you get your push-pull, which is just as one hand goes up, the other one goes down, and when you get to basically, you can say 12 and 6, then the other hand goes up, continues to pull, and the other hand moves to the right and pushes up. So you use that push-pull method. You have a lot more control over the car, and you have a lot more steering power, basically. All right, so basically guys, that's gonna be today's video. That's basically just a few hints and tips on things that you may see other people doing that you think is okay, but it's really not. So just to summarize that again, you don't want to cross your arms. Don't look at your rev gauge when driving. You just want to simply feel your car, listen to your car, and do what the car's telling you to do. You never want to hold your clutch in around a corner. It's bad for your clutch. It's going to just simply wear it out quicker, and you also lose control of the vehicle because then the car goes a lot faster. You don't want to put your clutch in too early when approaching a stop or a robot, or when coming to a stop. And so basically those are, again, just things that old-time drivers are going to do. You're going to see them doing it, you're thinking it's okay. Guys, please, let's not do that. Especially as a learner driver, you want to gain control and gain understanding of the vehicle. Once you've been driving for several years or several months, then definitely go ahead, find your own comfortable way of driving, and yes, you can then use those methods. But that again is of course up to you guys. Like I said, the clutch in wears your clutch out quicker, so you're just going to simply wear your clutch out quicker, guys. So if this video was a bit helpful to you guys, and for some of those old-time drivers who thought that yeah, this is okay when driving and you've learned something new, that's fantastic, guys. So if this video was helpful to you, please do give it a like, subscribe to our channel, share, and click on the bell over there so that we can make sure that you guys get notifications on future videos. Guys, that's going to be the video for today. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe and drive safe.